And here comes the number 1 Airfield Defence Squadron, as Leo mentioned earlier. Serving in East Timor, the Middle East and the Solomons. Behind them, the Pathfinders, number 82. Of course, flew over Europe in World War II as the famous Pathfinders, marking targets for RAF Bomber Command.
Yes, it was an innovation brought in by the Royal Air Force to make it easier for the night raids, because the Royal Air Force flew night missions, the American Air Force flew day missions. And so the Pathfinders would drop flares to light up the targets, so the bombardiers could actually then hit their targets accurately.
And with so many marching today, we do have occasions where the march just halts for a little while. And behind the Pathfinders, we have the Laurie Young Concert Band moving through.
Yes, this band is led by Major, retired Laurie Young. It's the first, who was the 1st Military Districts Band's ex-commanding officer. The band itself was founded in 1989 in Brisbane's western suburbs, and it rehearses at the Milne Bay Memorial Hall, which is the ex-HMAS Voyager hut at Chermside, near the Kedron Naval RSL.
Playing a familiar tune.
Trouble get back this far, but the youth of hurrying.
As we have a listen to them, we see the 33 Squadron, the RAAF.
33 was raised in Townsville in February 1942. It first flew Empire flying boats, then Dakotas and other transports. It was disbanded in 1946 and reformed in 1983 with 4 B707 airliners for VIP flights and air-to-air refuelling. The squadron has served in New Guinea, in World War II, Iraq, Afghanistan, and now flies wedge-tail early warning aircraft.
And behind them, number 36.
Yes, number 36 Squadron was raised in March of 1942 during World War II and flew Douglas DC-2s, Ford Trimotor planes, Dakota transports. It was the first squadron to receive a female commander.
And of course, it flew Hercules for a while, but they've now been replaced.
Yes, they've been replaced by Globemasters. And of course, it served in World War II, was in the Berlin Airlift, Korean War, Thailand, Vietnam, Middle East, and most recently in Afghanistan.
In fact, they lost a couple of crews in the fogs in Berlin during the airlift.
Coming up behind number 36 Squadron is number 5 Flight Heron 92 Wing of the Royal Australian Air Force.
Unfortunately, we have no information on them.
And behind them, though, the Brisbane Boys College, the Pipe Band, led by Pipe Major Lachlan McPhee and Drum Major Nicholas Winkley, formed in 1939 for the school cadets. A also wear the kilts, the ancient hunting McLean tartars. And let's have a listen to them as they move through. Them, the Combat Support Association.
Yes, the association was formed in 2008 and its members have served in Bougainville, East Timor, the Solomons, Iraq and Afghanistan.
And then we have the 23 City of Brisbane Squadron Association for ex-members of that squadron. The squadron used to fly Mustangs, then switched to Vampires, and even flew Meteors. It was based at Archerfield and is now at Amberley.
Of course, it started out in Victoria, but now it's Brisbane's own squadron.
Quite a few former members of the squadron there we see.
There's even a French airman there with them.
Then coming up behind them is the number 2 Squadron Association. Number 2 Squadron is a very early squadron.
There's number 2 as they move through, just behind the Airfield Defence Association. They were former members of number 1 and number 2 Airfield Defence. But as you say, number 2 Squadron Association, one of the early squadrons.
Yes.
Raised for the Australian Flying Corps, 1916.
Yes, it was raised in France in 1916, and then it served in World War II in the Pacific War. Then after that in the Malayan Confrontation of 1958 to 1967, then the Vietnam War from 1967 and 71. The squadron was disbanded in 1982, but then reformed in 2000, and it carries as one of its awards the US Presidential Citation.
It lost one of its Canberra bombers in Vietnam during its period there, and it was some time before the bodies of the crew were recovered and brought home.
And there we see the Brisbane Brass Band.
Yes, this band is led by Bill Barker and the 2010 Australian champion drum major, Steve Lawrence. This Brisbane Brass Band was founded in 1981 in Brisbane.
Behind them we have number 3 Squadron, the RAAF Association there. Now, interestingly, today we understand that not just members here, but also 10 serving 3 Squadron members have travelled up a road from Williamtown, the RAAF base there near Newcastle. It's the first time this has happened. They say it demonstrates the close association between their association and the current F-18 fighter squadron.
Yes, number 3 Squadron is the RAAF's longest serving squadron. It again was formed in France in 1916 for World War I Australian Flying Corps, and its fame was it recovered the body and buried the German ace, the Red Baron. It served in World War II in the Desert Air Force.
We move now to number 9 Squadron.
9 Squadron, very famous squadron from Vietnam, and they gave excellent support, especially to SAS. They dropped ammunition into Delta Company 6 RAR during the Battle of Long Tan in the storms. They did have a slight problem, but they overcame it. And there's a strong association between SAS and the members of 9 Squadron. 463 and 467 Lancaster squadrons.
Formed in 1942.
Yes, they
That was the 467, sorry.
yeah, number 467 squadron was formed on 7th of November 1942, and 463 squadron was formed on the 25th of November 1943, both in Lincolnshire, UK, serving the Royal Air Force Bomber Command.
And they flew a huge number of missions. How many missions did they fly?
They flew 6,360 missions, flying Lancaster bombers over Europe, and they lost 1,267 aircrew on those missions. They were awarded